My name is Albert Polanco, and I'm a producer and documentary filmmaker, and I help impactful brands to move hearts to guide minds through strategic storytelling. Now, what does that actually mean? It means that I can help you to create a story that makes an impact in the lives of the people that you're trying to reach. So in reality, people don't buy a product or service, they're buying the story attached to that thing. And it's really not only just the story that you're telling, it really has to do with the story that the audience is telling themselves about what that thing that you offer means to them, right? So if you're a coach who does transformational work, or you have a brand that has this product that's revolutionary, people don't actually care about your coaching or what you've done or your credentials or the product and the features of the product. They actually care about what it means for them on their journey. And so by telling the right stories, right, that's how you move hearts to move minds and make an impact in their life by bringing them a story that makes it relevant to them. What is in it for them? And so I see that mistake being made in so many brands' content. They're sharing great value, they're sharing good content. Maybe it's funny, maybe it's informative, maybe it gets views and clicks and shares and comments, but it's not speaking to the heart of their audience and what they want on their journey. What is it that your audience is looking to accomplish, and how can you be the guide to help them to get there, right? That's what I bring to the table with the filmmaking side of things that I feel is very unique and very different than most other production companies, producers, videographers, whatever you want to call it. I've got a pretty long experience in marketing, and I've arrived at this kind of place in my career and the way that I think and the stories that I want to tell because I started in the marketing world, and I realized that story was so powerful in movies and films and documentaries. There's a documentary that changed my life. They were telling a story about how humans who saw the Earth from space were never the same. It was called We Are Planetary. And that documentary elevated my perspective, and it told a story, and it really inspired me. When I think back to when my first inkling that I wanted to be a filmmaker was when I was like 6 or 7 years old. And I remember staring outside the front window of my house, and I had this blue house, and I had this long hallway in front of I guess it's not a hallway, but a walkway to the house, and you could see it's just like this very narrow walkway to this house. And all I could see was, from my eyes, my perspective was the neighbor's house across the street. And at that very young age, I remember that I was leaving my body and seeing the world from other points of view, other perspectives. I could see from my friend's perspective, what does my house look like from his house? And then I could hear my mom chopping vegetables and making food in the kitchen, and I could see from her perspective what she was doing. And I would play this game of shifting perspectives and seeing the world from different perspectives, even looking at the stars and imagining, like, what if I was over there looking back at Earth from a very young age? And I didn't realize until I was an adult that filmmaking is that, and telling stories is that. So that's one of the things that really impacted me over my lifetime. Then when I saw that documentary and it changed my life, it was like showing the world, seeing the Earth from space elevated people's perspectives. And when you see from a higher perspective, these narratives and stories that you have and perceptions about the world, they can't be true anymore because you can see from an elevated place. And so that contributed. Then I started flying drones, and I started seeing the world around me from a different elevated perspective. The world that I lived in every single day looked the same from the ground, but when I lifted my perspective visually and I saw it from a different perspective, it changed my whole world. And so I wanted to use that power to tell stories. So that's what got me into filmmaking. I started telling epic stories through video, using a cell phone, using cameras, using drones. And I used video to grow a startup brand in record speed. Like literally in the first 2 years, we went from like zero to over almost $2 million in revenue in the first 2 years. And it was largely because of the stories, the visual video stories that I was telling, and bringing a community around this product that we were offering in the automotive space. And so I've used video over and over in different types of businesses, and I've seen its impact. And so over the last 20 something years, 22 years in marketing, I've tried all kinds of different marketing. And what I found is that when the story is right, that's what resonates with people. And what people really care about is that, what does this mean for me? Yeah, you're selling a water bottle, right? But what does this mean to me in my journey? Like, how is that gonna help me, right? And so when you look at it from that perspective, that's what moves people, and that's what gets people's hearts involved in a brand and really engage with what you're offering, right? And so especially because I'm working with some transformational coaches, 7-figure, 8-figure plus coaches, transform people's lives. And that's a wild story that can be told through all the lives that are impacted through these people. However, the content needs to reflect less about the knowledge and the expertise of the coach and more about how can what they offer help this individual get what they want in life. I want to demonstrate the power of story, right? Let's take a regular object like this Duracell battery, this AA Duracell battery. Now, a pack of 4 of these may be $10. But what if I told you that this specific battery, this exact Duracell AA battery, was what meant life and death for 11 SEAL Team 6 members? So on May 2nd, Navy SEAL Team 6, they faced an unexpected crisis after neutralizing some threats, and their primary extraction point was compromised. They were on the raid to capture or kill Osama bin Laden. And Lieutenant Hayes, he needed GPS to navigate to an alternative route, but the GPS battery was dead, okay? And 2 helicopters just got shot down. And he remembered in this crucial moment that he had this single Duracell AA battery that he carried in his pocket. It was a habit that he picked up from his grandfather. So immediately remembering that he had this habit to always carry some extra batteries, he swapped out the dead battery, the GPS came to life, and he guided his team to safety through the back alleys, and they barely escaped as the pursuing forces were trying to chase them and try to find them in the dark during the raid, thanks to this one Duracell battery. Now this battery was then now framed at SEAL Team 6 headquarters, and it symbolizes that the small details matter in critical moments, and the smallest things can make the biggest difference. Now they actually auctioned off this battery for $400,000 for a great cause, and now I'm holding this battery and telling you this story. So that's the power of what story can do. Taking a $2.50 battery to $400,000 Duracell battery. Now, that was a totally made up story, but you get the point, right? Story is what makes people and moves people, right? It takes this commoditized battery in that story. We drew the audience in, and they could actually maybe for a moment believe that somebody would actually donate that money and they'd frame this battery at SEAL Team 6 headquarters, right? That is the power that telling a compelling story has. So I've been super busy with client work and a documentary that I've been shooting, writing another documentary series that I want to work on, and building my production company and the team. I finally made time to make this content and share this. And so if you found this valuable, I'd really appreciate if you would like, comment, subscribe, ask questions. Let me know if you found this piece of content to be valuable so that I know to make more content like this. And if you heard something that resonated, you want to reach out, feel free to reach out. My brand's name is MetaMango. You can find me at metamango.io. Later.